the last rebel-held bastion of Idlib. War monitors say at least 45 civilians have been killed in the latest escalation. Over 1,500 air and ground strikes have been launched, and President Erdogan of Turkey says more than 80,000 people have fled as a result of their homes being targeted. Now, this doctor we're about to hear, who works at a hospital in Idlib, sent us a video of the body of a dead baby, charred black, lying in the road, killed when the infant's family car was hit by a rocket. The family were trying to escape the bombing at the time. They were all killed.
Assad Regime and Russia destroy everything. In my hospital, large number of mothers came and delivery before time because of bleeding, disruption of placenta, woman and her mother, and boys and girls and children sitting at the street without food, without the clothes. The climate is very cold. There is no way for escape. If Al-Assad regime came, they will kill all of us. I sent a video. Al-Assad regime and Russia airplane destroy the road between Ma'aret al-Nu'man and Idlib. The car which carry the people who run away from Ma'aret al-Nu'man, this airplane destroy their car and burning a small child. This take place today.
That was a doctor in Idlib. Well, Mouaz Moustafa is with the Syrian Emergency Task Force, a humanitarian organization in Washington, D.C.
What's unfolding in Idlib right now is mass atrocities against defenseless civilians. We run a school for orphans and a women's center in Idlib Province. Our school in our town, which has no military, no rebels, has been targeted with barrel bombs, ground-to-ground missiles, artillery. Even as we worked on the evacuation, as people left the town, the evacuees are being targeted with artillery on the roads as these civilians are becoming displaced, and the situation is deteriorating. It's a never-again moment unfolding in Idlib right now.
Presumably the Syrians and Russians are saying that there have been rebels in these areas, or they've given people a number of hours to get out, or there is a rebel stronghold here, there, or everywhere. Does that hold any veracity for you at all?
That has no truth to it whatsoever. The fact is we are begging for a ceasefire of even at least 24 hours. A city like Ma'aret al-Nu'man, we're asking for just some time to let the women and children and civilians escape. And while we speak, cluster bombs, other kinds of munitions are being utilized against civilian areas with no rebel holdup. This is really a merciless attack.
When you talked about the school for orphans in,
yes.
Why didn't they all go then?
They have no place to go. And the fact is they had been displaced from their town before and returned once things calmed down a bit. It's called the Wisdom House, a school for orphans, amazing teachers, amazing students and families. The camps are full. The border with Turkey is completely closed. And you're talking about a very small geographic areas with millions of people, at least almost 4 million people, with 1 million of them being children. Our Wisdom House, our school, we're now desperately trying to contact Turkey and saying, please at least let the most needy of our orphans and our teachers to be allowed into Turkey, because there's no safe place in Idlib. If the world isn't able to stop the targeting of hospitals, homes, and schools, then they should at least give them a place to escape to. Recently, there's just been reports of horrendous things, and the most heartbreaking part is their children. Like, I'm not seeing pictures of fighters that are dying or anything else. I'm seeing pictures and body parts of kids, and you're talking about 70,000 or upwards of people that are being now instantly displaced. They're leaving with nothing but the clothes on their back, while the world watches or merely gives condemnations, statements of condemnations that do nothing to deter Russia, Iran, and Assad.
Now, we spoke to a doctor earlier, and she was talking about a family who were blown up by an aircraft missile on the road as they tried to escape. She sent us a very graphic photo of her baby who was burnt to a cinder. Why might it be that these people are trying to escape the area, and yet they still seem to be targeted on the road?
Because the people that are being targeted because they exist. They're not being targeted because they're not leaving their towns. They have no place to go. And I've seen that video. That doctor is absolutely right. I can corroborate that information reported to you. And it is horrendous. On the roads, as they escape en masse, not to mention the car wrecks and the chaos, they're being targeted by regime artillery. It shows the vengeance that the regime is trying to have on the people of Idlib, which, by the way, represent Syrians from all over the country. Idlib has been a safe haven for people from Aleppo and Damascus and other places that have stood up for their rights, for their freedom, and simply because they just want to live like everyone else, and now they're being seen as terrorists, even the little kids.
And Mr. Erdogan, the president of Turkey, obviously saying that his country can't take any more refugees from Syria. So where can these people go?
The border has been closed for a while. There is maybe over 1,000 IDP, internally displaced persons camp alongside the Turkish border. And even those camps are not free from the destruction of Assad. We understand Turkey has an overwhelming amount of Syrian refugees that they've treated as guests. But Turkey, the whole world, cannot just stand by while these people are allowed to be slaughtered. If the world, at the top of it, the United States of America and Western democracies do not want to end this never again moment, then they must find a way to allow these people to escape to safety. We can't just let them die.
That's Mouaz Moustafa of the Syrian Emergency Task Force, a humanitarian group.